as y'all know, I love Doki Doki Literature Club, a psychological horror game that disguises itself as a dating sim. But before Doki Doki Literature Club was a thing, there was You and Me in Horror, another psychological visual novel horror game that first released in Japan in 2013 and then got an English version in 2020. This game not only amazed me, but it also surpassed DDLC in horror, and today we will be diving into that. Before I get into this, I want to clear up a misconception. There are gamers that believe DDLC was inspired by You and Me in Horror. Dan made a response to a post and quote, "I've always heard this game gets a lot of love, so it's very exciting to see an official translation. But I'd like to clarify that DDLC wasn't inspired by this game. I only vaguely knew of its existence. Some of DDLC's inspiration were Humaniki, Intervision, and Erasure Syndrome." Wanted to get that out of the way before we dive into the game because there will be some similarities. But keep in mind that Dan Slavato did not have this game in mind when he was making Doki Doki. All the similarities are just a coincidence. The game starts with the main character on the roof named Shinichi, and he gets a phone call from God, no joke. You are then greeted by Ari, who is standing on the roof with the phone. She then gets on top of Shinichi and wants to get zappy with him to recharge her battery. We are literally at the beginning of the story and already it's getting weird. Suddenly Miyuki appears and aims a bat at your head. Now what you will notice is the CG seems a little zoomed in. That's because this game has two different versions. There was the safe for work version, and then there was the not safe for work version. I am playing the safe for work version because I bought it from Steam, but there are some extra CGs in the uncensored version, and some of the CGs are zoomed in like this one. Here is the full image of this CG. This one is pretty tamed compared to the other CGs the uncensored version has to offer, and I will warn you, they go too far. There was even some dialogue that was censored as well. Yeah, this game gets very intense, and by intense, I mean intense sexual scenes. That I obviously can't show without any type of censorship. Anyways, back to the story. We meet Miyuki, and she claims her and Shinichi are in a relationship. We just started!
Dude, chill out.
Channel, what are you doing here?
I'm here to absorb your experience with the game.
Okay. Most of the story is Shinichi, Miyuki, and Aoi running around, and for the first route, it's a casual will they, won't they between Shinichi and Miyuki. At one point, Aoi sends a signal out to God to tamper with the game in order to get Shinichi and Miyuki together.
The horror is starting! The horror is starting!
Calm down, dude. It's not that exciting. If you stop her, Shinichi never ends up with Miyuki, and it will loop. If you let her send the signal, you'll be greeted with an intro, and it continues the will they, won't they story with Miyuki. Eventually, they end up together and get to view their life as a couple before the credits roll, giving the illusion of it being the end of the game when there is more. My only question is, how are players supposed to know to replay the game again? Any casual player could genuinely think this is the end of the game. I know that's the effect of the illusion, but for any new players, they may not know to do this. You do have to pick certain choices, otherwise it will loop with Shinichi and Miyuki with a few new dialogues. But if you pick the right choices, you will get to experience Aoi's route. Before we go any further, I want to take this moment to talk about the characters. Obviously, we have Shinichi, the main character that we play as. He isn't really a likable protagonist. Sure, he does try to help Aoi, which is a sweet thing to do, but his interactions with Miyuki, especially when she confesses to him, are pretty whack. And y'all thought MC from DDLC was a joke, just look at some of the lines from Shinichi. And while he does get a happy ending with Miyuki, it doesn't really feel earned. He would have never changed his ways if Aoi never encouraged him. In fact, there is even a whole different ending if you let Aoi down. It is sweet to see his moments with the girls, but none of his awards feel earned. There is one more thing I don't like about Shinichi, but I'll be saving that when we get to the climax of the game. I adore Miyuki. She is the best character of the game, no doubt. She tries to help Shinichi when she sees him pinned down by Aoi. When she decides to help Shinichi with Aoi, she comforts Aoi when she starts crying. Another good quality Miyuki has is that she's a softball player.
Got my bat ready for the foxes.
Why do you hate foxes so much? And she kindly opens up to Shinichi when she is nervous. My favorite part about Miyuki is when she calls people out on their bullshit. Like when she enters Shinichi's house and knows Aoi is in his house while he tries to lie to her straight to the face. The only thing I don't like about Miyuki is in the first ending she ends up with Shinichi. I do like the commitment she has, but with how he treated her, I wouldn't really support her dating a man like him. Last but not least, Aoi. She is a wholesome character and wants a lot of happiness, but is also self-aware. She casually breaks the fourth wall. Her flaw is that she sexually assaulted him 2 times in the story without his consent, but once you look past that, she is another good character. Well, until... I'm gonna save that for the climax of the game. When you finally unlock Aoi's route, her and Shinichi kiss and get zappy on the roof, and in the uncensored version there is an extra CG that isn't on the Steam version. Keep in mind that kiss doesn't always mean kiss. Miyuki, a little more frustrated this time around, eventually gathers stuff for Shinichi's birthday. Up until this point, the game has been lighthearted with a few cool moments here and there, but for the most part, it's been a peaceful story. Well, this game is about to hit you with the biggest fucked up twist of all time. Everyone gathers for Shinichi's birthday, and during the party, Miyuki exposes Aoi for cheating on Shinichi. Yes, Aoi has been getting zappy with a bunch of people, and Shinichi sees for himself. You are then given the choice to kick her out or let her explain. We all know what the correct choice is. Throw this bitch out! But to progress the story, you must let her explain. In this case, Shinichi decides to stay in a relationship with Aoi despite her cheating with other guys. In the uncensored version, there is an extra scene of the side characters and Aoi getting zappy, and then another side character pretty much getting by Aoi and Shinichi joins in. I fucking hate them, dude. Thankfully, Miyuki puts an end to this shit show by coming back with blood all over her. She killed Aoi's cat, and then she kills Aoi with the bat, and then kills Shinichi while singing happy birthday to him. Miyuki, my girl! She speaks to him with more censored dialogue from its uncensored counterpart.
Kimi.
This is where the game gets compared to Doki Doki Literature Club. Miyuki becoming a self-aware character that just killed her friends. This is why people believe the game inspired Doki Doki Literature Club, but this isn't the case. Just look at Dan's tweet. Even after his tweet, people still try to argue that Doki Doki Literature Club was inspired by this game. If this was true, then why would Dan go out of his way to clarify the game had no impact on Doki Doki Literature Club? The only thing these two games have in common is being a horror twist visual novel and 2 self-aware yandere characters. But these are only bare minimum in comparison. There are plenty of other horror visual novels, and they aren't the first of its kind to have cute games turn into scary. On top of that, Miyuki isn't the original self-aware yandere.
And Miyuki wants Shinichi while Monika wants to play her behind the scene.
Now as for the scene itself, I've seen other playthroughs of gamers calling Miyuki a clingy monster that just wants Shinichi all to herself. So Miyuki is a monster, but Monika isn't? While it is true that she wants Shinichi, I argue that Miyuki's action is completely justified here. Not to mention Monika selfishly wanted the player all to herself. Shinichi and Aoi are terrible people. As I pointed out earlier, Shinichi treated Miyuki poorly, and in her route he was about to get zappy with Aoi and even tried to lie about her being in his house. Let's not forget that Shinichi neglected his promises to Miyuki, and even after Aoi is exposed for cheating, Shinichi still allows himself to be in a relationship with her. I can't feel sorry for Shinichi or Aoi. On top of that, there's the whole player cheating on Miyuki thing. With Monika, at least she didn't have a route to feel cheated on, and you technically only end up with Sayuri. Even with Yuri and Natsuki's route, you don't end up with them. So there isn't really any cheating here. All that aside, this is my favorite scene in the whole game. It's sinister and is properly built up. The game will then close and then reopen, and you are now in Miyuki's hell. You spend a lot of time with her and it starts to loop. Pay attention to each different scenes because it is important for answering questions. Now, if you want to do something unique, make Miyuki mad by talking about Aoi constantly, and eventually you'll get Aoi scenes. Once you get 3 different scenes, Miyuki will get upset, and if you refuse to kiss her, she chases after you. You hide in a closet and see someone labeled God. Shinichi calls it in. Aoi's God does exist. But then Miyuki breaks the door like it's nothing and kills Shinichi with her bat, and you can see her smiling. When it starts to loop, you can skip until you get a new scene and see it. Once you see a lot, Shinichi and Miyuki will go to the roof, and Aoi appears only for Miyuki to delete her again.
That was pretty sick.
Shinichi calls out Miyuki, and she chases after Shinichi to stop him from bringing back Aoi. Then you'll be back in the hell loop, but when you get to the dinner part, you must pick these choices I will present you with. You will have to then answer 10 questions correctly in a row. You get even 1 wrong, you have to answer 10 again. Now, it's important you paid attention to what Miyuki tells you in the sections because the answers are different from each playthrough. Meaning the correct answers I'm putting in mine may be incorrect for you. All is not lost. If you fail, you can reload the memory by selecting dinner and try again. It's faster this way. Once you get all 10 correct in a row, Miyuki tells us how she became self-aware. Eventually you wake up and chase after Iru. And then you get on the roof with Miyuki chasing after you. You end up on the roof where a phone is down in the center and you call God. With 1 final chance to bring back Aoi, God will give you a number, and then you subtract the 8-digit numbers with the number found in the game's manual right where it says key code. And then add Miyuki's number, which is the number of times you've kissed. I've kissed her 65 times, holy crap! Once again, the numbers here are going to be different for you, but all you have to do is write down the number God gives you, then subtract the last 8 digits with the key code number, and then add the number of times you've kissed Miyuki. Do this with a calculator, that way it's easier to get the number. Once you call, Aoi will be restored and tells Miyuki that she needs to put the world back to the way it was before she patched it. Miyuki is upset and doesn't want to let go, but then agrees, and it's up to the player to choose which girl he truly loves. You can only get 1 ending. You can't do both. Well, you could do both endings, but it would ruin the theme of the game, and Shinichi says you'd be betraying them if you went to see both endings. So I will showcase Miyuki's and Tanner will showcase Aoi's. In Miyuki's ending, she embraces you and Aoi disappears. You then get a happy ending where Shinichi confesses his love to Miyuki and they end up being a couple.
In Aoi's ending, you still get a moment with Miyuki, and then Aoi says goodbye to the player as she travels to another video game. I wonder if this is foreshadowing.
Despite my criticisms, this game is truly a masterpiece. I only showed the main story plot. There is more content far beyond what I presented, such as other endings, secrets, and Easter eggs. There is so much more this game has to offer, and there are videos out there that showcases them. I would highly recommend checking this game out for yourself. Trust me, your personal experience will be different from how I presented my review. Huge thank you to Hulking Enigma for being a part of this video. If you enjoyed this video, you can like and subscribe for some more content. Until then, I bring this chapter to a close and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!